Okay, so guys, I'm going live. I've gone live. Victor, you don't need to stress yourself. You can just stay on the call and coordinate what's going to. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I hope you guys can hear me also.
I can hear you. I can hear you both.
Okay, so we are live now.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another very insightful session on ethical hacking. Today is supposed to be our final day, so yeah, today is supposed to be our final day. So let's sit back, relax, and we'll be doing some practicals also today. So also pay attention or don't go anywhere, as promises to be very interactive. So just give let's give ourselves or let's give our colleagues another 15 minutes to join. So we'll be starting at approximately 10, 11, 15 ish. Yeah. So yeah, let's wait. You can share your link across also across your contacts, across your portfolio, so that we can join. And also note that today is going to be the assessment training. I mean, the assessment um, for this training, which will be running at the end of today's session. So also prepare for that. And it's also time based, and there are also detectors to know if you're searching online or using AI to answer the questions. So prepare, get ready. Just 20 questions, multiple choice, ABC to D for some of them. So just be patient and relax. That will come at the end of the class. So, yep. All right. So let's give 15 minutes to our colleagues and friends to join. And yeah, share the link across. Thank you. We'll be back. Thank you. Okay. Good morning and welcome back to this insightful session. Good morning and welcome back to this insightful session. I hope everyone can see my screen. Um, just a moment. Let me get my slides up. All right. So I believe you can see my screen. So let me just start quickly today. We've waited 15 minutes. I think that's long enough for whoever wants to join. So yeah, I think we'll start without waiting or spending longer time waiting. So just a moment, let me check something. Okay. So just for clarity's sake, I'll be starting today's class now. So let's go. It's past 15 already. So yeah, let's get started. My name is Bankole Adekola, and I'll be your facilitator for this insightful session today. It's the fourth session in the series of our hacking course, and I'm glad to, present or facilitate the session. Um, so I hope you guys have learned a lot from session one, two, three, and today, which is the fourth session, which we're about to start now. So, um, introduction to ethical hacking. My name is Bankole Adekola. I'm a cybersecurity professional and cybersecurity engineer. Have several years of experience with ethical hacking and information security in general. So, before we start, I'll do a session review, overview. Um, we'll do a recap of all our modules of all the things we did day one, two, three, and we'll also tell you what we'll be doing today also. So, without wasting much of our time, let me start. So, we've talked about the history of the internet. We've talked about what is security. We've talked about what is cybersecurity. We've we also talked about features of cybersecurity, CI triad, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. We've also talked about the need for cybersecurity. We also explained what is hacking, and types of hackers, who is a hacker. We also talked about the motives of the black hat hacking and the consequences of hacking when you hack. What are the consequences that goes down with it? Especially when it's unethical. So we'll also talk about the importance of ethical hacking in today's world. Very, very important because we as ethical hackers, our job is actually to discover those vulnerabilities before the bad guys do. So we are actually creating a secure world in general, which is very important. And then we also talked about the phases of hacking. Here we mentioned the five or four major phases of hacking: um, reconnaissance, footprinting, um, gaining access, exploitation, and post-exploitation, covering our tracks and all the likes. We broke all those down for you. We also talked about the legalities of ethical hacking. So where you draw what draws the line between being legal and non-legal. Talked about all that also. We've talked about it in previous sessions, so you can just go back and check your emails for the links. Also check the Academy Halogen page for the links to those previous sessions. So we also talked about the professional hacker code of ethics, code of conduct and ethics. Um, so because every profession must have their code of conduct, especially when it comes to a profession as sensitive as ethical hacking, we also have our rules and uh, rules of engagement also guiding us. Um, the next, so for day two, we talked about networking, basic concepts and fundamentals of networking, of course. For you to be a good ethical hacker, you need to know all these things. You need to know all these things, networking, web, and all that. So we broke down a few things for you, at least introductory. That's why it's an introductory class, basics. So we broke down a lot of basics for you, at least that will kickstart your journey into discovering further things as you go down the line. So use for you to go do your further reading. This is like a preamble to the real deal, to the real deal. So you still need to go do your things. You did understanding network protocols, network topology, technology, common network devices. You have a firewall, switches, routers, and all those things. So we are breaking everything. We've broken everything down for you in previous sessions. So you can just go back and recall it. Well, footprinting and reconnaissance is another thing we talked about. Importance of footprinting in ethical hacking, footprinting techniques. So we talked about the OSINTs, DNS records, techniques for gathering information about a target, tools, and also user enumeration techniques. And for module three, we talked about the fundamentals of exploitation, introduction to common exploits, exploitation framework tools, techniques for exploiting vulnerabilities. Especially when you're doing it in a controlled environment, we always advise that when you're exploiting vulnerabilities, you always do it in a controlled environment. Um, web web application basics also, and then we also talked about we did an overview of web application architecture. We talked about the common web vulnerabilities. We talked about the cross-site scripting, SQL injection, cross-site reference forgery, and then we also introduced you to the open web application top 10 vulnerabilities. Open web application security project top 10 vulnerabilities. So we also today we're breaking down. I'm not sure we've talked about vulnerability assessment and pen test. So maybe today I'll do a quick recap on all those ones also for you guys, put you on track before we go into today's class. So for today's class, we're supposed to do practicals, but and I think I understand that a lot of people haven't got their downloaded some of the necessary tools we're using. So for us to be able to play along together, I would advise that you download some of those things. Sorry, just a moment. Let me. Um, Okay, as I was explaining initially, there are some tools that you will need to download. I just wanted to be sure if maybe that information was passed across initially. I'm not sure, so let me just quickly tell you what you can download so that before I'm done with the theory part for today, um, you might have downloaded it if you have a very fast network. So I'll just tell you a few tools to download today. I mean, right away before we are done, so you do Kali Linux. Sorry, Kali Linux. And then you also download VirtualBox. VirtualBox. So those two things for now, at least, this will help us, this will guide us a little bit. So just download your VirtualBox and then download your Kali Linux. Let me see if I can get you the URLs for that, so that you don't download from any third party. Don't download from any third party website. So for the Kali Linux, ensure you're downloading it from kali.org, and then for the VirtualBox, let me just be sure. For the VirtualBox, you also download it from virtualbox.org. Sometimes these people might change their, so I had to be sure first. So yep, so you can just download these two tools. It's Kali Linux and VirtualBox. Let me see. Yes, also there's something I also noticed. A lot of people complain about the quality of the video, and the quality is based on your network connectivity. That's why you might have poor quality of the video. So what you can do is, on the settings of your YouTube, you go to settings and then you go to, I think, quality, video quality or something like that, and then set it on at least 720. So that's when you'll be able to get some high definition video. You'll be seeing all these things clearly. Some people complain that what we are writing is very blurry, it's this, is that. So the truth is that it's blurry because of your network. So increase your network, increase the, so your the YouTube has already automatically adjusted the quality to suit your network speed. So what you can do is to go to the settings of, you see you see a button at the bottom looking like a wheel, like a gear. So you tap on it, that's the settings, and then you go to video quality, and then from video quality you tap on at least 720. If you have a very fast network, you can tap on 1020 or 1050p or something like that. But at least minimum 720 should do the job for you, so that you don't miss out on this session, because some of the fonts we'll be using will be very tiny, because I'll be going to browsers and I'll also be going through, So I think I would advise you to switch up your settings to a higher resolution, so that you see our fonts clearer and you'll be able to participate better. So please go to this website quickly, download it, so that you'll follow us along while we're doing all these things we're doing today. But if try to get a fast network. But if at all you don't, just follow up, and then later on, you go back to the video and then you follow slowly. If you can't catch up with what we did, just hit me up. If you have any issues installing any of those things we'll be sharing to you, just hit me up on LinkedIn, explain the issue, attach a screenshot, preferably if you can, attach a screenshot, show me where the problem is, show me what the error message is, and then we'll fix it together. So don't worry, and I'll try to answer you as quick as possible also. So anytime you can hit me up, even 3 a.m. in the night, 2 a.m. from a week, I'll respond. When I wake up or when I'm free, I'll respond to your message. So um, feel free, just jot down as much as you can jot while I'm speaking or while we're practicalizing, and then over time you go back, do your thing, fall into an error, message me, attach a screenshot if, if you can. That will help us. So yep, that's it for that. So I hope you guys can still see my screen, although I can't see the chat box. So today we'll be talking basically about talking today about the common web hacking tools. We'll talk about the common web hacking tools, some of the hacking tools we have common in web hacking. Don't forget, while we're doing the theory, please download Kali Linux and VirtualBox. Those two at least for now. For now, if you want to, follow along while the course is going on. So, introduction to common web hacking tools will be the topic for today, and also in between, I'll also be explaining vulnerability assessment and penetration testing also in between the course today. So yeah, let's get ready. Let's go and let's get our hands dirty. Let's start today. Enough of the talk. So, common web hacking tools. Of course, as hackers, we use a lot of tools. In fact, every profession requires tools to get the job done efficiently. Sometimes efficiently, sometimes easily. In fact, sometimes without those tools, you can't even get the job done. So, we'll be introducing you to some of the hacking tools we have as ethical hackers in our arsenal, and we'll also tell you the two types, the features, what they can be used for, and that can also give you some use cases also as we go along. So one of the very, very important tools. So I think we're doing common web hacking tools. Yep. So you'll be seeing mostly tools that are used for web hacking. So one of the very, very, very important hacking tool that we cannot do without as ethical, or most ethical hackers can't do without, especially when we do web hacking or bug bounty, is the Bob suit. I'm sure you can see the Bob suit on your screen. So it's the Bob suit. Bob suit is it's our go-to tool when it comes to web application pen tests. When it comes to web application pen test, Bob suit suffices very well. So it's a proxy, and a proxy is what stands between. It's like an intermediary. It can stand between you as the client and the server. It's just in the middle, and then in between you can intercept the traffic. You can do a lot of things. So you can see the tool type is the proxy, it's an intruder, and it's also a repeater. So what that means, over time when you practice all these things, you know what we mean. So a proxy stands in between. I can intercept the traffic, do what I want to do, push it to the server. Scanner tool, I can just impute example.com into the tool, and if you help me scan that website, tell me if the website has some vulnerabilities. Although sometimes it comes out as false positive, that's where you as the ethical hacker now comes into play. That's where your professionality as an ethical hacker comes into play. So you see some of those vulnerabilities and then you know, no, this is a false positive. Then you see some and you know that, well, this website has XYZ, this website has a cross-site reference forgery, you know, and then you can try to um, exploit those vulnerabilities. So the scanner does that for you. It's automated. That's why it's a scanner. It automated scan for you. There are different scanning actually. There are the scanning that just picks up vulnerabilities. There's the scanning that is just to spider the website and then have a graphical, or sorry, have a logical outline, outlay, layout of how the website looks. You have all those things in the scanning tools. You can set it to scan accordingly. We have intruder. It helps us to, you know, it's an intruder. It's intrude into your traffic. It will intrude the traffic, do a lot of manipulation in between, and then before it pushes it to the server. Same thing we have the repeater. So the work of a repeater is that it helps you repeat mundane, or we like to call it boring tasks. What it does is that, for instance, if I want to break into Bankole, or I want to break into one website.com, and I've seen that I need to send particular request 100 times, sometimes even 1,000 times. How can I do that? But clicking my mouse 1,000 times will not work. So what happens is that we use what we call a repeater. We'll put the parameters that we need it to repeat, and then it keeps repeating. In fact, it keep repeating and repeating and repeating on your behalf till it gets the results that you're looking for. Sometimes we use it as for stress testing. Sometimes we use it for a whole lot of things. So in fact, there was a recent hack that happened on one of the financial on a financial organization, and what the hacker actually used a repeater to perform that attack. So what the guy did was, I kept repeating his request till the server got almost like a denial of service attack. But in this case, he was doing something like there's he was exploiting the time limiting vulnerability. So because there was no time limit on how many requests the server could receive, or you know, the API could process in a particular time. So there's you know, you can go read further on that. So there was no time limiting implemented on the website. So the guy, he's a Nigerian guy actually. The guy utilized yeah, he's a Nigerian guy here. He utilized that vulnerability, and he was able to transfer not so much, just some few funds from the account of those guys, and they called us in to, you know, do the investigation, and we saw all his patterns, we saw the repetition of traffic, and then it was obvious that he used the repeater. It's a Nigerian guy. In fact, the name was there because the account he transferred the money to was there. So stuff like that. So you know, it's a very powerful tool, very, very powerful. So it comes in two or even three flavors now. There's the cloud version, there's the cloud version, there's the community version, there's the professional version also. So for the, of course, the professional version is paid, and so it comes with added features. In fact, you can't get the scan feature if you don't pay for it. But without the community version comes without the scan feature, so you can now use the proxy, intruder, repeater, interceptor, and all those things. You can make use of them Um, you can make use of those things if you have the. I mean, you can make use of those things even without having the professional license. Even if it's the community edition you have, you still have access to some of those features that are very, very vital. I think the only feature you don't, I think one of the major features you don't have access to with the community version is the scanning, automated scan. So the next one is Zap, and Zap is very, very similar to Bobsuit. Um, that's the open web. So Zap is very similar to Bobsuit, just that in this case, Zap is free. It's free. It's open source, so it's free. You don't pay for it. It's open source, so you don't pay for it, and that's the difference. So there's nothing like community version in Zap or professional version. It's open source. Everything updates once you log in. Probably today we'll have enough time. I'll put you through some of those little parameters you can use in Zap and even Bobsuit. So it's open source. It's free. Everything is free. I like open source. Everybody likes free things actually. So it's just that it's a little bit slower than Bobsuit. I don't know, but everybody has their preference, and so yeah, but it's very, very powerful. The same thing, like everything I explained about Bob Suit is also applicable to Zap. So it's just that it's an open source alternative, it's free, and then for organizations, some organizations don't like using free tools. So I think maybe Bob Suit would be the go-to tool for those kind of organizations. Organizations, they don't trust anything free also. So yeah, maybe from experience. So they don't. Some organizations typically, when you tell them it's open source, they don't even want it. They want something they will pay for. I get value maybe. We get value even from open source sometimes. So we have Nexus. I don't. So Nexus is one very, 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 very powerful. You see how many times I mentioned powerful. So it's a very, very powerful tool for ethical hackers. So one advantage of Nexus is that it can scan both on-prem and web applications for you. So not only web, you can apply Bobsuit, you can apply Nexus to scan even your routers, your firewall, your Active Directory, anything online. Nexus is very, very strong. It's a professional tool. It's not free. It's not free. It's expensive. Let me not say very expensive, but as expensive as it is, it provides value for what you pay for. So it's made by Tenable. It's called Tenable IO also. It's a very, very strong vulnerability scanner. I'm not advertising for anybody. It's your choice when you go back, do your research, pick whatever tool you feel comfortable with. I'm going to introduce you to quite some number of paid tools, open tools also. So it's up to you. When you do your backend research, it's up to you to choose what suits you. Maybe the user interface, maybe the speed of the application, several things, several factors, maybe the resource utilization, several things we put into consideration when picking our tools. Even the amount cost too can also be a consideration. So yeah. So vulnerability, I mean, the Nexus vulnerability scanner is very, very strong. It scans for vulnerabilities automatically. So once you input the IP address or the URL, maybe something website.com, you put the IP address 192.this, you put it, and it just tell it to go. It scans for you, brings back the results. You go through. Of course, all these tools produce false positives. So you go through all the results, and then from there you can proceed to exploitation, prepare a report. So there are two things: there's vulnerability assessment and there's penetration testing. So most times when we do vulnerability assessment, this is one of the tools we use for vulnerability assessment. And then it's also a step ahead for us for pen test. So because from the assessment, we can now see a whole lot of, it's like if I helps us do, it helps us with phase 1 and 2 almost of ethical hacking, which is information gathering. So to help you gather all those things, you have an idea. So sometimes, for instance, if I just put in the URL, it brings me the IP, the DNS, all those things, it brings it out, tells us where some of the outdated softwares that the web server is running, some things like that, expired SSL. Those are some of the things we will not even look at when we're doing the pen tests itself. Because when we're doing pen tests, you're looking for holes, you're not looking for we're not looking for non-compliance and all those things. We're looking for real time, like okay, one port is open and we can from there escalate. We're not looking for expired this, expired that. So vulnerability assessment does that, and then pen test because the real hand getting the hands dirty. So yeah, Nexus is very powerful. Several things. It's so strong. It has they update the database almost every time. So even as the vulnerability is coming out, it's quick to discover it. Some vulnerabilities that even we as in the field might not know yet. The researchers in the lab of all these guys would have done the research and you know to attach it to a CVE. And then we also have Akunetics, very strong, similar to very strong similar to Nexus. There are several reasons for application based on your preference. You can choose to go with Akunetics. You can choose, but it's very similar to Nexus. Whatever Nexus does, Akunetics can do almost the same thing. Yeah. So no need to waste our time explaining it. NetPacker is also another very strong one. NetPacker, very strong. It's a vulnerability scanner and it's an automated one. When you see any of these scanners, actually, most of them are automated. Almost all these tools are they're automated. They do automated stuff for us. So it's an automated web scanner which is scan the web, identify the vulnerability, and provide you details. Sometimes it's even proof of concept. So sometimes people go prefer NetSparker, especially when you're not too tech savvy or too professional. You might want to go with NetSparker. That's because of the kind of insight it gives into the vulnerabilities it discovers. Then we have WForce, which is another very, very strong web application scanner. It's used for brute forcing and then also uncovering a whole lot of so brute forcing in the sense that it can force a website, brute force the username, brute force logins, brute force too many things. It's very the application of it's very wide, very, very wide, very strong tool also. So you can use it for directory transversal attack. So you move from this directory to the next. So yeah, something like that. I wanted to give you a story, but we'll talk about that in another slide. So you have Metasploit. Metasploit is very strong. I know most of you that are enthusiasts, you've heard of Metasploit, and they always think Metasploit can do everything. True, Metasploit can do almost everything. It's very, very, it can work as a scanner, it can work as an exploitation tool, can work as anything. It can work as a vulnerability scanner. It can work as a recon tool. It can work as so. Metasploit is very strong, very, very strong. I won't doubt it. But these days we are moving away from it a little bit, but it's a go-to tool for enthusiasts. And that's because it contains a very large range of modules for web application vulnerabilities. Serious modules. You can just it helps you automate things too very well. Once you're able to discover a vulnerability, the next thing is to escalate and then just same using the same tool. So it makes work very easy sometimes. Then we have the beef. I'm not talking of beef of cow. We're talking of browser exploitation framework. That's how we got the beef. Browser exploitation framework. So that's beef browser exploitation framework. So and it's used for exploiting browser-based vulnerabilities. We use it to conduct most times client-side attacks. And yeah, most times client-side attacks. So mostly from attacks that originate from the browser of the client. Beef. There was a time I studied the whole book on beef. Very, very powerful beef. Very, very powerful tool for exploitation. Very, very. So you can take your time. It's also getting outdated too, but it doesn't matter. Then we have the IR Buster. It's a file directory. It's for brute forcing. Um, it's a tool for brute forcing. It's a tool for brute forcing actually. Um, and what it does is that it has you feed it with a list. You feed it with a list of you feed it with a list of names, or would I call them names? You fill it with a list and then you you tell it goes through those lists automatically for you, checking well-known directories, and then if you discover any directory, you can from there attack that directory, check files in that. Sometimes you can use it to even discover hidden directories. You can use it to discover directories that have configuration setup details, all those things. Very, very powerful tools. We've used it to discover hidden extensions of URLs where the developer, after developing your website, after developing, let's say, this website.com, The guy now, developer is now using your domain to host other websites on that. This tool will help you discover all those things. So under that one, he has hosted one thing, he has hosted one academy, he has hosted this, he's testing something for somebody else, all under um your domain, which is not supposed to be the case. And so, we discover a whole lot of hidden resources using Directory Buster. So sometimes the strength of the tool is dependent on the word list you give it. There's what we call word lists. Let me see, maybe later today I'll try to touch on that, but just take it as a note. There's what we call word list. Whenever we're attacking things like this, we always attach a word list to it. So sometimes the strength of your word list matters also. Our word list sometimes contains as much as 11,000 lists of things. It starts like that. Names, days, that combination of admin at 123, 123 admin, just combine so forth. That's for password. Different like that. We have different lists. We call them word list, password word list, directly word list, and likes. Depending on the kind of attack you choose, the necessary word list that goes with it. So maybe that's why you see we always tell you that when you are inputting your password, don't always use English words, don't use words, don't use things that are easy to combine. That's because this word list combines all those things. So we always say use Yoruba words, use Hausa words, use Igbo words, use your traditional, even if you have one dialect, inside one corner in Nigeria or inside one corner in one, use that dialect to form your passwords, and that's because it might not be in your word list. Which word list wants to combine one Hausa and Igbo and Yoruba combination together? I'm not saying you use Wazobia because that one fit the word list, but you can use something like, I don't know, what can I use now. Combine different words that you can find in Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, join it together. Mix it up. In that case, even when you do a forcing on your password, even when an attacker tries to force your password, they might not be able to break it because it doesn't have an English name. Um, yeah, it doesn't have something in dictionary, which is what we use for our dictionary attack or even brute force attacks. So we have SQL map. Um, we have SQL map, which is for SQL injection. It's an automated tool that we also use to detect SQL injection vulnerabilities. So we just run this tool on your infrastructure, and we're able to see where there's an SQL vulnerability locking. So what we do is when we deploy that tool, we see the SQL, then maybe we try to exploit it or whatever, but at least it shows us that it's for detecting SQL injection, strictly for detecting SQL injection. So yeah, um, that's it for common tools, common web hacking tools. Just as a reminder, hope you guys have downloaded your Kali and VirtualBox. So, social engineering is one very important thing that we have to discuss also. In this course, we're almost putting it out, but I think it's very important for us to understand it, even as enthusiasts or even as hackers. It's very, very useful. Because of course, like I said, human is the most important asset, and at the same time, we're also mo- mo- we're one of the weakest link also. They wanted to use one funny English, most risky or riskiest. So we also pose the risk. We also pose the highest risk as humans, as much as we are of high importance in every certain organization. That's how much we are of a high risk also. So um, social engineering is actually the manipulation of human beings, we humans, into divulging some kind of confidential information. So it's more like a psychological manipulation which attackers use to deceive individuals into divulging some kind of confidential information, or maybe performing one action for them, or to compromise some security measures. And most times, this approach exploits the human behavior rather than technical vulnerabilities. So that's why it's a very, very potent threat to our cybersecurity. But we don't joke with humans, people, when it comes to cybersecurity. Don't. So one of the also three major things that revolves around cybersecurity is people, technology, And then what's the third P? People, technology, and process. So those three things, the technology, the people, among these three things, people still plays the most important role because people will procure it, people will use the technology, people will deploy it, people will configure it. So people will use it. If at all, even if it's machines that do all this other first part I said, people, if you are putting those things in place for people to use. And so humans need to be aware of some of these things, and that's why they are the weakest link. So you can put the most expensive firewall or the most secure firewall on your infrastructure, and you will still get attacked. You could still get attacked just from a very, very little human error. So that's why human factor cannot be left out. That's why we're talking. Even so, I have to break down the social engineering part so that even you, as enthusiasts, you don't get overwhelmed and get attacked using some of this social engineering. In fact, some people still get, even till now, some people are still victims of social engineering and they are cybersecurity professionals. Yeah, so it's very important for us to be aware of how these hackers or attackers trick people. You'll be shocked. In fact, there's this saying that hackers don't break in any longer; they log in. I don't know if that sounds. Hackers don't break in again; they log in or we log in, and that's because we don't now all those forcing password things. It's stressful. You just need to send you one email, you click on it, you send us something, and that's all you get. So these days, we don't even waste time again. I can just send you something, you click, you do type one thing, I'm already capturing all your keystrokes somewhere uh, else over the internet. And so these days, people don't even break in. We don't waste time putting one. See, I told you sometimes you have to guess 11,000 words or 11,000, sometimes to 50,000, like that, depending on the size of the word list. Imagine sometimes we leave our systems running for days just trying to guess somebody's username or someone's password. When you can just craft a very nice looking email or SMS sent to the person will divulge that information you are wasting days and resources on trying to look for. And so these days, hackers don't even bother themselves again. We just tell you to do one thing and then go on. Someone like Hush Puppy, I always keep saying Hush Puppy was never a hacker. He was a scammer. He was very good with social engineering. And so that's why he was able to engineer people into divulging all those very information, very, very, very vital information, social security numbers, all those things. But he also had hackers that were working at the back end for him, to get some things done. But in the front end, he all he did was social engineering, and that's why it's very, very important for us to be very aware. In fact, most of these guys that call us on phone and say, "Oh, guy, you don't win one thing, one thing, one thing, one thing," but to do that, we'll send you all those people. They are all under social engineers. They are not hackers. They are scammers. So, um, one of the major common social engineering techniques is phishing, which is sending deceptive emails, or sending deceptive emails or websites, that impersonate some entities into revealing informations you get. Uh, so yeah, that's it. Such as sometimes they can trick you to give your username, your password, credit card, anything. Once they're able to convince you, that's all they need. One other thing is so sometimes the techniques they use for this phishing attack is spear phishing. And spear phishing is when you target a specific individual or an organization with a personalized message. So that's spear, like a spear. So I think you should use that. Like I spared you, like straight up to you. It's targeted. You don't just throw spears like that. Maybe arrow, you can fire arrow anyhow. But spear is direct, and so that's why it's called spear fishing. Don't worry, I don't know whether that's why it's called spear fishing, but just trying to give you that analogy so that it sticks. So it's direct, it's more direct, it's straight on to a particular individual or a particular organization. So I can craft it directly and say, hey, Bankwale, I saw your session on YouTube. This. Something very vital. It's direct. Person knows that this is Bankole. So you be like, hey, Bankole, this, that, that. However, that your session I saw, can you do this for you to do? They'll just craft something very, very attractive and tell me to, they'll tell you there's a way you can generate funds for you using that YouTube link. Just what you need to do is we have sent you one code, click on, very direct. It's different from when they just try to send the message to everybody in this group now and say, for attending one thing, click on XYZ without mentioning your name. So spear phishing is very direct. And that's it. We have clone phishing also. There's what we call clone phishing, and that's duplicating some legitimate emails and then putting some malicious links or attachments to deceive the recipient. So, for instance, you're used to receiving emails from MTN. Let me use this as an example. You're used to receiving emails from MTN, and MTN sends you. So you're used to receiving emails from MTN. So what the attacker will do, or what the social engineer will do, is that he will clone that same message. But in this case, the attachment maybe it will tell you that this is a our banks always send us what they call this thing again, statement of account or something like that, something in that fashion. So I can now craft it that I can clone that same message the same way the bank sends it, and then the attachment will be the malicious document. So you read it, but in this case, it's the same message that you're used to seeing, but the attachment is actually what has the payload. So that's where we call clone phishing. That's what we call clone phishing. And then also all these are under phishing attacks. So don't worry. I know why the slide is not moving. It's deliberate. I don't want the slide to be too busy, and that's why we didn't put it there. So there's also what we call whaling, which targets high-profile individuals, especially executives. I'm sure if you've hung out with our G boys in Nigeria, you would have heard them mention something. You might have heard something like what we call BEC, that's business email compromise. And it's a very popular attack, especially among some G boys. And what they do is that they target executives, foreign executives, and they pose like they also pose. So, for instance, I can target your finance manager of, let me say, Coca-Cola or even Halogen, and say, "Oh, I'm a head of finance. I'm trying to do one thing for the staff. Keep it confidential. I'm the CEO. I'm the MD. Keep it confidential. I want us to supply somewhere with one size of printer, but I want it to be a surprise to that branch. So don't tell anybody. See where you pay the money to this vendor, blah blah blah. All those things, they are all phishing and social engineering, and that's whaling because they are targeting high profile individuals only. So that's whale phishing. You know how that name comes from also, big whale. So we target big individuals, big whale. So all these names also have some attachment to it. So for you to remember properly, just remember whale. It's called whale fishing. These questions could come up in some of your exams. So whale fishing, just know that it's big. So big individuals or something like that. All right. Let's continue. So the next one we'll talk about the next common technique for social engineering is baiting. And baiting is offering something enticing. So I bait you, fishing bait. Maybe they attach a worm on the fish so that the fish comes to it. So that's a bait for the fish. The fish saw the worm, he didn't know that there was a hook. So exactly the same thing goes also for us here in social engineering. You see the bait, you see the nice looking iPhone, or something flashing, and then you feel like, let me pick this thing. Maybe, we lure individuals, using something that is very enticing. So that's baiting. Bait you with its free software. I mentioned free software before. That's why I told you when you're downloading Kali Linux or VirtualBox, make sure you go to, because those tools are free and they're open source. So there's VMware also. Don't worry, I'll break that down later when I'm explaining. So there's VMware, but I told you not, I didn't tell you to download VMware because VMware is paid. You get it's paid. You might now start seeing it in so many websites telling you we have crack version. All those things come with some, payloads at the back. Free softwares, free this, free that. You know, it's enticing you to click on that link or to take an action. So that's baiting. So sometimes in baiting, people will leave. Sometimes somebody will drop a USB somewhere and make you pick it. Maybe I can just come to your office, even if I'm not invited, maybe walk into Shell or walk into an NPC and say, "Oh, I'm here to see Mr. XYZ." I know he doesn't know me. I know I'm going to have an appointment with him. I know the receptionist will reject me, you know. So I can just go there and say, "I'm here to see him." As I'm speaking with receptionist, I'll just, you know, push one USB drive somewhere and somebody randomly, or I tell them how to use the restroom and I just go to the restroom and drop it there. And from there, somebody will come thinking it's a legitimate USB, say, "Oh, can I And then maybe he wants to know who owns it, and he'll plug it into his system to know. Maybe I'll see the files and I'll be able to know if it belongs to Bankole or if it belongs to Elizabeth, or something like that. And immediately he plugs it, bam, don't enter be that. Oh, he has been hacked. From there the attacker will receive a shell somewhere, and they know the rest is history, as they say. So that's one. And then another way people use, we're talking about baiting now. Another way people socially engineer us to do some things is also through phone promotions, often fake discounts or rewards, that require users to enter a credential or maybe download one other software. There's this thing. hmm, Thank God this has, so there was recently I was there was something that happened recently. So although it's not really, I can't call it, it's also baiting, but this funny conversation that came up now is what made me remember it. So there's this thing that people do in Nigeria, very similar to MMM or these are Ponzi schemes, where they will tell you to download one app and then you'll be running some tax every day and they'll be giving you money. Please go ahead if you're making money from it. But the truth is that nothing goes for free. So you think you're making money, but those guys are actually making times 10 of what they are giving you. First, you are maxing that you are downloading apps or you are watching some YouTube videos on their behalf. That's also scam in the first place. Secondly, you've installed an app on your phone that you don't even, most times you see that they don't put those apps on Google Play Store or Apple Store, because they know that those people will scrutinize the app and they won't allow it to run on the platform. So they will send it to you as a normal file. You click it, download, and even when you're sometimes these apps, when you're installing it, will warn you. But because of the money that these Ponzi guys have promised to give you, 50,000 every day if you perform 100 tax, all those kind of things. You don't know they've copied your contacts, they have access to your OTP. So even if tomorrow a bank OTP drops into your phone, that app has access to that OTP, has access to all your SMS. They know how much you receive, they know how much goes in and out of your account. So when they want to scam you, it's very easy for them. Meanwhile, for your mind, you don't they give them money since. Sometimes those people they are very smart. They will even this attack will even happen immediately. It will take months after you've installed that app so that you don't even suspect it. They will monitor you, they will check all those things, they will check the kind of amount you receive. So even just like sometimes some people say, the OTP didn't drop or something. I don't know how they access my account. These some of those funny apps. Those apps have already installed and you've granted it permission to all your SMSs. That's why sometimes some OTP will drop and you don't even need to input it. You're shocked, right? Maybe when you do something on Facebook, the OTP drops, you see that Facebook doesn't, you don't even need to input it, it automatically goes into the app and imputes it. So that means they have access to you have given them permission to read all those things. So the same thing, all those malicious apps, they tell you that it's for you get one thing, 10,000 every five days when you click this and you do this tax and all that. But in the long run, they actually have access to your phone, they have access to your contacts, several things. So be very careful and chop your money. Oh. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, chop your money and do your thing. So the next one is tailgating, which is piggybacking. Tailgating is when you're trying to physically follow somebody into maybe like a restricted area. You know, most time this thing exploits social norms. So for instance, they've told you that you can't, we don't allow non-employees enter somewhere, and then you just follow one. You dress very smart, looking like an executive, and then you just join somebody into the elevator, and boom, you're in it. So that's tailgating. Just follow somebody, that has access, and then you get access. Let me not go too far. Mostly impersonation, dressing or behaving like employees. So you know that these guys in this company they always wear pink overall or blue overall. Then you go make the same thing, dress like them, enter the site. Yeah, impersonation is one way, false justification, maybe you pretend you lost something or you forgot something somewhere, and then another random person tries to help you, stuff like that. That's for physical. Then we have quid pro quo. I hope I mentioned the word quid pro quo. So this actually is a technique that is when you're trying to offer something helpful to somebody in exchange for things like their login or user credentials. It's also a lot of people use it, but mostly I think this attack mostly happens for insider threats. Insider threat is when somebody from inside the organization is actually the threat. So in this case, probably I need login details to one finance or one person's laptop income. Then I'll just tell you, oh, Benny, you know what we'll do? Let me give you my lunch, then you allow me use your laptop for today. Something like that. Maybe your laptop is so fine. Don't worry, I'll give you lunch. Give me your laptop for 2 hours. And then, hey, waiting there 2 hours. Oh, yeah, give me the shawarma, take my laptop. And then the person does, just as an example, the person does what he wants to do, and who knows. So most times you see people call you for support, IT support, and then tell you that, oh, that's not in Nigeria anyway. Tell you that, oh, there's a support we can give you. All you need to do is just grant us access to XYZ, and then from there we'll have remote access to your system. Don't worry, once we are done, we close all those remote access. This don't even allow them. They also have job scams. That's another way people do this quid pro quo. It's also through jobs. So they'll promise you job opportunities. Uh, they tell you, okay, we'll give you this job opportunity. All you need to do is just log in your card details on this website, and then from there we'll take it up. Once you log in those details, trust me, that's it. Your card is gone because you have already given them access to your card, stuff like that. So several things they could just lure you with something very, 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 very simple. Something very simple. So we also have tailored gifts, sending personalized gifts or favors, to create a sense of to manipulate people into giving you sensitive information. So some people also this also works as an insider threat. You dash people, you dash your fellow colleagues some gifts so that they don't feel uncomfortable when they see you around their system or maybe around, just to catch, just to work on their psychology. They be like, this guy will always buy me lunch. Make I just leave and make it a play around for my system, all those kind of things, gift card and all those things. Then we also have the reverse social engineering, where you manipulate victims con- into initiating contact or diverging information willingly without realizing they are being targeted. So, for instance, there's this story I always tell of someone that will call you and say, you have been an MTN user for the past 20 days, 20 for a long time, and we are rewarding all our MTN users for being loyal. So to do that, we have to send you one OTP or we'll put you in one group. Now say, have you seen the code? You say yes. That then they say, okay, that code is to put you on our WhatsApp. We call it for us, and then you call it for them 4199, and then bam, before you know, your bank detail has been cleared. So that's reverse social engineering. You don't even know. You think they are giving you something for free, but the truth is that they're actually, you know, cashing out on you. Um, so the truth is, I always ensure that you have multi-factor authentication on all your devices, so at least you get an alert or you make the job difficult for the hacker. Even though these days we know there are some basic mitigation, there's some ways to evade OTP, but it's also very difficult, very very difficult. So the key psychology principles behind social engineering. Social engineering actually relies on various principles and techniques, psychological techniques to manipulate people into to manipulate people, yeah, or exploiting people. So understanding this psychological factor is also very crucial for attackers and also for defenders. And that's also so that we can effectively recognize and mitigate social engineering attacks. So, however, here are some of the psychological principles that works behind social engineering. So, people are more likely to comply to authority, and authority is one of the ways. So, you form that you're an IT person, and supervise also you gain trust of the supervisor, and you give me your password. You're not even supposed to give your password to your IT person. I'm sure a lot of people don't know that. When your company, I'm sure your IT people have their password. It's not supposed to be so, because anything that happens on that machine, you'll be held responsible. Reciprocity is also reciprocity is also one way, when you're trying to reciprocate a favor. Um, so sometimes, favor, you also always look at that. So you see things for free, be very, very conscious. If it's not an ethical hacking tool that is inside Kali Linux, very conscious. See, I made a specific. If it's not inside Kali Linux, or if it's not a Linux or Python tool, it's not free. Trust me. Unless if the company actually, make, like when I explain the free edition and community edition, in that case, yeah, it's reliable. But if somebody comes to you and tells you now that, oh, we have Nexus Pro for free, then you should be suspicious of it. You should be suspicious. Or they tell you we have Bob Suits Pro for free. Ah, no, you have to be suspicious. Nothing comes easy. Nothing comes for free. Even a lot of us, Windows operating system is cracked. Microsoft Word is cracked. Well, maybe, but always be very careful. You also have scarcity. It's another way people use. It's another techniques attackers use actually. So they will create a sense of urgency and tell you that but if you don't buy this phone now, you might not get it again. It's only 5%, it's limited, tell you it's not available. The way these black marketers do when they are trying to sell petrol to you. Tell your guy, if you drive go front, you don't go see fuel again. No. This. You must buy from us 2,000 naira per liter. The next place where you go see now and almost so many so they just make you create that scarcity, sense of scarcity in your mind, you know. Same thing, even when um, yeah, there's scarcity in your mind, and you'll be jolted to bend to their social engineering. One other thing is curiosity. Humans have the natural curiosity to explore and also seek enticing subjects. Clickbait, a lot of us we like. That's why they just write one thing, offer ends now, and then people rush click it. So we're very curious, or they'll put one very funny picture. So I'm sure some of you have seen something like on the internet or on social media. It looks irritating. You can see the picture. It's looking irritating, but something is dragging you to still click it. I don't know whether you have seen that kind of images before. They work on your psychology. They work on your psychology. You're seeing it. You see that this thing is looking funny, or you can see that maybe they slit the throat of something, and something you don't really like, but maybe the way the picture is being presented to you, you now want to click it. Or a picture of someone that was burnt once, some very funny thing that even on a normal day you won't even, but you just want to click it, and that's because they know what they've worked on psychology. They know what clickbaits are, or maybe they do an enticing subject line or something. Another thing another psychology principle that people work on is fear and urgency. So most times, the attackers induce fear, just like I explained to you about the first scarcity thing. So they will induce that fear that, bros, if you go, you don't go see you. So that's fear and urgency also. And so you have to always look out for all those social engineering tactics. Don't allow anybody scare you to anything on your system that if you don't do this, your system will crash. If you don't do this, your something funny like that, just make you create a fear, or make you, or make you, if you have to do it today, or anything other than next tomorrow. So all those things, be very careful. Social proof. So sometimes attackers may use fake testimonials, endorsements. We've seen it a lot here in Nigeria when all these MMM scams were working. I mean, it was very popular. You see that what they do is that they will go and pick one celebrity to advertise it and tell you, hey, yeah, it worked for me. I bought my Benz, I got my Range Rover from this and XYZ. So you will also be enticed that this person is buy Benz, this person buy Range. See how they find now. Then you'll be you'll be dragged to also do whatever they are telling you, or maybe invest in the Ponzi scheme. So yeah, I think that's it for today. I just wanted to make sure we touch base on those two things, and ensure that we are all on the same page when it comes to ethical hacking. Social engineering is one very very salient part of ethical hacking, cybersecurity in general. So we should always pay attention. It's also very good when it's well understood, so that you can understand the principles in which people's emotions are being manipulated. And so that's why we have broken this down for you. I hope it was informative, and thank you for listening. Next on our agenda for today is the practicals. Yeah. So next on our agenda is practical. Okay, so let me just quickly break down something for you. I'm sure if you are paying attention, you have known what it is. I mean, you have known the difference. That's vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, and that's the difference between both of them. So vulnerability assessment is more like running automated tools in your environment or in the environment. And penetration testing is actually when you're actually exploiting those vulnerabilities manually, hands-on. You type it, you get the results, you extract something from that results, you push it into another tool, you see the results, that is the real penetration testing. We'll break it, we're able to download your passwords, we'll do that. But in automated scans, you won't. It will show you all those folders, it might show you those directly. Then you as the ethical hacker, you now take your time to dig into each of those vulnerabilities one after the other that maybe the automated tools might have put, or maybe directories or something. So very, very those two things are they're interchangeably. Most times people interchange them. They'll be like, I want to do a vulnerability assessment. Meanwhile, they mean pen test. I want to do a pen test. Meanwhile, they mean so. In fact, most times the way we call it, we just call it VAPT. Because the truth is that even if you engage us for a pen test, we will still run a vulnerability assessment, because some vulnerability assessment we see things like expired operating systems, expired, outdated uh, protocols or technologies, maybe a TLS 1.0. Meanwhile, we already have TLS 2, yeah, or maybe somebody's using SSL in their environment when we have upgraded to TLS. Somebody using Telnet when they're supposed to be using SSH. All these things is your vulnerability assessment that we check. Or somebody still using Windows 7 instead of Windows whatever, Windows 11, stuff like that. It's your VA, that's vulnerability assessment, that digs into all those details. Pen test, now we see that, oh, there's cross-site scripting here. How do we do this? Let's exploit it. Now do proof of concept, show that, yeah, it's actually existing. Or you see how there's SQL injection here, and then you start testing all your SQL injection parameters, to see how it goes. Or you see one environment and they tell you the SMB or the SQL one thing has expired and is also vulnerable to remote code execution vulnerability. So when you see that kind of information, what do you need to do? You just go and test and see how you can do your own remote code, and how you can do a remote code exploit on whatever infrastructure it is. And so vulnerability assessment actually sometimes makes the job easier for in penetration testing, because it's aligns it down for you. So yeah, I think that's a little example on that. That's a little bit of the example. So now let's go into um, practicals for today. If you have any question, you can just hit me up on my LinkedIn, Bankole Adekola, and I can break it down for that for you. So yeah, please, have you downloaded this? So just add me on LinkedIn. If you have any issues, just reach out to me. We'll resolve it together. So over to the practical aspect of today. So yeah, that's my profile. It's my LinkedIn profile over there for you to, you can add me up. Yeah, so you can add me up, and you can have a conversation from there. So without further ado, let me go into the practicals. Or let me just a moment. Let me see what you guys are doing on YouTube briefly, and then I'll and then we'll continue with the Okay. Okay. So I'm seeing some messages. Thank God I actually went there. Okay. So let me let me let me start like this. Let's download VirtualBox first. So welcome to the practical part now. Jot a lot, and yeah, jot a lot. So go to this web URL, virtualbox.org. How do we zoom? Okay, we can't zoom the. Okay, okay, fine. So go to virtualbox.org and then you scroll. You see what I was saying when we started this course, that if you can't download things online, this course will be very difficult for you. Then, in fact, that's the only prerequisite for me, is that be able to download things and be able to research. Because trust me, I need to go through this, but I'll go through it for the sake of those that might want me to do it. So I'll do it. I'll go through, show you where to download, what to select, why you're selecting it also. So welcome to the VirtualBox page. VirtualBox should pay me for this. So this is a free advert. So welcome to VirtualBox page. You go to downloads. On the page, you check the menu, you go to downloads, and then under download, you will um you will see different options. This is how the page should look. I wanted to say let's switch to mobile. I didn't see any reason why you should be using mobile view because you're downloading it on your laptop. So we'll go to this view as we are now, and then we click on Windows host. If you're using a Windows machine, you click on Windows host. If you're using oh, it's downloading already. If you're using a Windows host, okay, let it download. If you're using a Windows host, you click Windows host, you go there to download. If you're using Mac, you click on Mac. I don't know why it's not opening the Mac page. If you're using Mac, you click on Mac. It comes in a different format actually. So it downloads immediately. So I didn't know they've upgraded um this. So I even thought it try to specify 64 bits, 32 bits and likes, but we're good, it didn't. So download that. Once it's done, let that rest. Here again, we download Kali Linux. Let me just paste this. You can just do it. Let me just show you guys some little, play around that you can always do. So you can just come here and say, you can come here and say, uh, okay, let me go to google.com. Let's go to google.com. And then I can just say, download Kali Linux. Download Kali Linux. Just click on it. You can see, show you. Just make sure you're doing Kali.org. Let me scroll down to show you that some sites actually still upload it even if it's free. Can't trust them, trust me. It's free, so just go to the right site. You can see text, you see it. See, this is not a Kali website, so you shouldn't download from sites like this. If you go down again, let me see. Is there somebody else? So you see another one again, Kali for PC, Windows PC. All these ones, don't download them. Don't download them. Download from the Kali website. Download from Kali website. So that's it. This is how it looks. So now there are two options. Do you prefer light or dark? So there are two options here. You have the installer image and we have the virtual machines. So depending on the application you want, or when I say application, I'm not talking of depending on where you want to apply it. Depending on where you want to apply it, um, you can choose the installer image or you choose the virtual image. So if you want to install it on the machine itself, if you want to install it on the machine itself, on your laptop, like not in a virtual environment, then you go with installer image. So let me show you how that looks. So you go to installer image, and then on that installer image, if your system is a 64 bit, I think most systems these days come as 64 bits. So if your system is a 64 bit here, you go with, you can just click on this custom installer, it will start immediately. Yep. So that's about 3.8 gig of 3.8 gig of file. Fine. Do I need it? No. So you can do that if you have torrents and you don't have a stable network. You can go with torrent because torrent you can download a particular file for even 1 year if you're using torrent. Once you come back to the internet, it will continue. Once you go off, I may not advise you to do it. If you have a good internet, just download it like this and get it over with. Go with this main one. This major one is the main one. All these other ones are um depending on your over time you get that you know why you will know where you need them or not. The next one is the virtual machines, which you can click on. We have different virtual machines. We have VM, we have VirtualBox, we have Hyper-V, and we have QEMU. We also have it. We have all this, and where did it go? So yeah. So if you're using VMware, I'll also show you how to download VMware. So if you're using VMware, let me show you quickly. So if you want to download VMware, that's the same way we did on our Google search. Just download VMware. I'll show you why I don't mean in this kind of cloud. VMware is very sweet, easy to use. In fact, it's I think easier to use than VirtualBox. But it's paid. You have the pro version and then you have the player. Call it player. That's the free version is called a player. Because in a play, you go they play for there. Maybe for professional. So we have the player and then we have the pro. So you can buy the pro. Let's see, buy online. Got a pro. Got a pro. Let's see. Say buy now. If you want to use the pro version, you say buy now. You log in your details. I can't even see how much you bought. Okay, so it's 120 USD per every 12 months. So 120 USD times 12 months. I mean, in 12 months, how much is the dollar rate today in Nigeria? I just want to have an idea. Let's say 1.5. Yeah. So you'll be paying 180K every year. It's not bad. It's not bad for something you're using um to make money or to learn. It's not a bad idea. Trust me, VMware is very easy to use, maybe easier to use than VirtualBox. So that's VMware. Yeah, so that's the price 120. So that's VMware Pro. If you want to download it, if you have the money, go ahead. That's 120. You can change for some people. And if it's the VMwork player, if I tell you now player on a phone, now we won't play. You use the player version. You download now. Click on download now. There's a problem in the internet. Let's refresh. Is VMware vexing for me? Anyway, you can see it. So that's where you go. You download now, and it will take you to the URL. So maybe when you're ready, it will work. So yeah, try it. So that's VMware for you. It's also very good, very sweet. It's very sweet interface. So very sweet interface. Let me look for it. So yeah, this is how the interface looks. Very nice. This is the player, sorry, and this is the pro. Yeah, this is how the pro looks. This is how the pro looks, and this is how the player looks. So yeah, very nice, very sweet to use. Well, it's because of I'm trying to introduce you. You guys are still learning. I don't think you should pay $120 yet. We can you can work with the player. The player will do well also for you. Just that there are some advanced configurations you won't be able to get on the player. So you can play around, use the player. See. So well, back to our track. There are different flavors depending on the virtual environment that you have. So if you have VMware environment, you click on the VM download. If you have a VirtualBox environment like us, I think all of us in this class we should use. I think we're all using VirtualBox or VM. So fine, whichever one. Virtual Hyper-V is also a Windows product, but mostly you find this mostly in server environments. It's called Hypervisor. That's the full name. It's mostly server environment. So if you want to deploy it also on the server, Hyper-V, and you have a Hypervisor running already, you can go with this one. If you have Kumu, it's not so popular in Nigeria, very popular in Asia and some of those other countries. Yeah, so you can choose that also. But for today, we're doing VirtualBox. And so when you click on VirtualBox, it starts downloading immediately. Preferably just click here so you get it downloaded. You can also do what we call a checksum. So this checksum, I'll show you how to use it too. It's also one of the ways to validate that you downloaded the right file. So when you download, you'll find it in your download folder. Let's continue. So you find it in your download folder, and sorry, I'm coming. I'm just trying to make sure my download. So it's in my download folder now, and yeah. So yeah, that's it. It's in my download folder now. Let's look at it. This is my download folder. I have a VirtualBox which I downloaded, and then I also have the Kali Linux. So for VirtualBox, everybody should be able to install because I already have VirtualBox installed on this machine. So I might not want to reinstall it again, but let's see. Let me see. Let's open it. Let's see what it will tell us. Maybe I can guide us. So just click next. All this, leave it as default. Click next. Proceed with installation. I would have clicked yes. So let me not break anything in my current virtual environment so that we don't start troubleshooting in this class. So I'll just say no, and then we'll close the installation. But for you guys, just say yes, yes, yes till it finishes. And then when you're done, I'll show you one extension pack you can download. So yeah, when you're done, the next thing to do is to locate your virtual machine. I mean your virtual box. So I have Oracle VirtualBox over here, and I'm going to open it. So yeah, that's our VirtualBox. I have some dead machines here too, sure, but yeah. So these are our virtual environments, and this is how it looks. Normally, yours will come clean. All this will not be there, so you should come literally looking like this with all these buttons over here. So we have downloaded our Kali Linux for VirtualBox. You can see it has its dash VirtualBox in front. So you can open it to play around. Show more options. Let's open with 7-zip. I love 7-zip very well. It's also open source, so maybe that's why I like it. So yeah, so those are the two files in our folder. So those are two files in our folder. Next thing for us to do is let's minimize this. We go to new, and then you type the name of the operating system you want, or of the operating system we are installing. So we say Kali. So we say Kali. Let's say Kali train or Kali tutor. Kali tutor. So because we're using it for tutorial purposes. So it should also tell you where the files will be stored. So for instance, I have two hard drives in my not hard drives actually. I have two storage devices on my laptop. I have an SSD drive and I also have an hard disk, a hard disk. So in my case, my hard disk is full, but I have I think over a terabyte space free on my SSD. So what I can do is if I don't want the files to be stored there, especially maybe I know I'm going to be working with very large hacking files or hacking tools in the while I'll be working on the project. And I already checked, I see that XYZ number of gig. So I can choose to select another location for where I want them to be stored. I can choose I want them to be stored here, find something, some folder. I think I have a folder like that here. So that's VirtualBox VMs. Then I'll come here, select it, making another VM. So let me just see VirtualBox VM. Let me see it here. Let me see it here. Yeah. So I'll save it there. And it says we should pick ISO image. In fact, this whole thing is there. But let me go around it. So yeah, it's and click on order. And okay, so this is the I downloaded this since quite some time, 2023. So but the step for us to do is to pick. Okay, sorry, in ISO, we don't have an ISO image, which is not what I want to show you. This is a very long process. It's also very good. That's how I install it personally. So I can customize a whole lot of things in my installation. So I use this method, but for the sake of this class, I will not use this method. I'll be using a different method. So pay attention, go to add, and then we'll go to add. We look for where we have that. Is it? We look for where we have that folder, and we'll go there. We extract. So we go into the. Let me just say extract, or should I say extract? So we go into the folder and extract. You're looking for one option. Yeah, extract here. So we'll extract it first. So if you views the folder, if you views it as a folder, you don't have zip. I'm sure all of us will have WinRAR. So should I use WinRAR? Maybe I should have used WinRAR because I think most people will have WinRAR. If you want to do that, just double click. The truth is that extracting is like copying and paste. So just double click. Just double click. If you can view it, if you can open it, open. So it has opened. And you can see I'm using evaluation copy. So for instance, if I didn't have 7-zip, which did extract here for us, we can job quite faster. What we can do is to just come after opening this folder and then just do a drag and drop. It's not allowing me now because that's not a folder. So I just do a drag and drop, and let me drag and drop it on that folder so that you can see that as an example. So let me say, can I drag it now? So I can create another folder. So I can just for training purposes, I just want to show you that I can do drag and drop also to extract. It's extracting. It's not done yet. So I just want to drag it and drop it, and it will extract it for me. You get. So whichever method works better for you, you do. But you see, it was very easy for me to just right click and say extract here. So whichever method works for you anyway, you can just open it, drag it, and drop. What you're doing is just revealing, you're unzipping it. So whichever method you use is fine. The major thing is for us to get it unzipped. So let's wait for it to unzip while we yeah, let's wait for it to unzip. So wait. Okay, it's done extracting. Um, it's done extracting. The next thing we'll do is to can close all this. Don't think I'll need it again. So we'll just close everything and then back to our installation process. So back to our installation process. So we do add because we're not doing so. What Kali has done for us is that they've compiled it in a sense that it looks like you've installed it before, and then so it's very quick. In fact, this method is the quickest method to get your Kali up and running. So sometimes if I'm in an environment and my major Kali Linux is trying to act funny and I need a fresh one, what I do, I just quickly come here, download this, and before you know, in seconds, the Kali is up. You will see it now. Seconds, the Kali will be up and running. So you see it. Oh, sorry, I forgot I was in a class. I was already clicking on. So let me start again. So you go to add, as usual. After extracting, let me turn on my video. So after extracting, you go to add. Hmm? You go to add, which is this button that has been grayed out now. So you go to add. And then from add, you look for where we have put that file. Wherever you extracted or copied and paste or dragged and drop that folder from that unzip file, you double click it, and then you select this blue one. You can double click. You can see immediately, trust me, our Kali is ready. Unlike the other one, this other Kali option that you have to, although I like it, for my personal, and that's what I use this other one for my major jobs. This one, you see, my name is customized. I'll show you. This one takes almost about an hour or so to deploy. So it's not going to be suitable for this class. So, but it's customized. You have everything in your name. You have everything the way you want it. So let me show you now. So for Kali Linux, there's a description here. It already explains everything to you. Username is Kali, password is Kali. You can see it tells you the password. So fine, let's go on. And it has allocated necessary resources for me. I'll show you guys how to also, because some of you, your system might not be capable, so you might need to tweak some of the settings. Okay, so let me show you how to tweak those settings before we go into the real Kali. So we have system first. I have about 16 gig of memory, but it has picked only 2 gig. Fine, I don't want it to take too much because it's just a practical class. I'll still clear this off later. But for you, if you check, you have 16 gig. You can drag, and if you're using it very well, you can drag it to maybe 4 gigs. So just drag this slider with this. You see, make sure you don't drag it above this red. So you'll be getting a lot of crashes and the like. So just drag it somewhere, maybe 4 points, something like that. Anyhow, depending on your, don't just drag it to red and don't drag it too much. You can just something average that will be good enough and a good speed for you. So yeah. So yeah. So you come to processor, you can add one or two more. I always like to have at least two processors, most times, at least. So I have 12 CPUs on this my machine. So I'm using only two of those CPUs for this purpose. So that's it. Display, you don't need to touch anything there. Here too, you don't need to touch anything. So yeah, network, leave it as NAT for now. I'll explain all the others later. So just leave everything the way it is. The only place you might need to touch some things is here. When you notice, don't worry. If you have any issues, just chat me up. I'll guide you there. Because it could be quite complicated sometimes, um, fiddling around there. So yeah, let's start our virtual machine. Beautiful. So at the beginning, we saw what our username was and what the password was. I think I showed us in the description. Let me show us again. So when you check, you see it here, password. Oh, we can't zoom. Okay. You can see it down here. I can highlight also. So, but you can see it here. Username Kali, password Kali. Don't forget. Don't call me and start asking me for the username. Except sometimes if you the username will change if you have if you had gone with the installer, you're the one that will choose your username, you're the one that will choose the password, you're the one that will choose the name that will be reflecting on it, several things. So this one is already pre-installed. So Kali Kali over there. Welcome to Kali Linux. Let's open and close it. So let's make it fuller. Did you see how that happens? So most time when you start it, it comes like a very small screen. So all you need to do is minimize and maximize again, and it comes up very. Kali is blessed. Kali is very very nice. So that's it. Welcome to Kali. So the first thing I'll tell you, let me just introduce you to the architecture of Kali Linux first. Yeah, I was supposed to end this session by 1. So let me explain the architecture of Kali Linux to you quickly so that can be fast. Here, this is the menu of Kali Linux. You see very similar to Windows. See Windows menu here. This is Kali. So you see, I'm running 2 machines in one, two computers in one laptop. I would like put English. You can see that Windows is running fine. Our Kali is also running fine. So under Kali, you can see it's divided all its tools into 13 categories or groups. And we'll be starting from the information gathering tools. You can see DNS analysis, IDS, host, network port scanners, open source intelligence analysis, rules analysis, all this. Remember, we mentioned AMAS, we mentioned all those things, Multigo, ReconNG, see all those tools, Nmap, you see them all under information gathering tools. You see all these things come pre-installed. It doesn't mean you don't install other things, but basic tools come pre-installed in Kali. Basic hacking tools pre-installed in Kali. So that is it. The next one will be vulnerability analysis. You can see for vulnerability analysis, you have fuzzing tools. Under fuzzing tools, there'll be more tools. You see VoIP tools, VoIP hopper. VoIP is voice over IP hopper. We use it to pen test VoIP. So sometimes when we're in an environment, we do our Nmap scan, we see that there's a VoIP on this environment, there's a voice over IP on this internet or on this network. So what we do, we can now come to the VoIP hopper and then try to see how we can play around it using VoIP hopper. We have Legion, we have Nikto, which is one of the web tools I explained to us before, Nmap, we have Linux privilege escalation check. Under the web analysis tools, we have under the web analysis tools, we have Bobsuit. Let me start from there because that's one of the major web analysis. We have Zap. I can't find Zap here. Where's our Zap? Z attack proxy. WP scan, that's WordPress scan. We have Bobsuit. We have Directory Buster. You can see them. We have FOF. We have WFOS. These are all on the web crawlers and directory brute forces. So web vulnerability scanners, all these you just automate it and they scan. I'll show you some of this. All right. Then we have database management tools. We have SQL Mapper. We have password attack tools. We have Medusa, Hydra, John the Ripper, Kismet. There are many. 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 In fact, most times when you hear anything cat, it's mostly password tools. They are mostly password or for cracking tools. I see Hashcat. There's Mimikatz also. There's Hashcat. There's Mimic. There's Hashcat. There's Mimicat. Sorry. Wow, so sorry guys. Honestly, I didn't know my screen wasn't showing all this while. The meeting is what covered the. I mean, oh, okay. Okay, okay. Uh, oh God. We've gone far, so far. Okay. It's one of those things. I'll start again. Apologies. So please, I'm going to start again. And apologies. I didn't know my screen wasn't moving. I can't read the chat box on YouTube. So, oh, damn it. Okay, we'll start. We'll start again. No problem. All right. Where do I start from now? All right. So I'll be very fast again this time because lost a whole lot, lost out on a whole lot of visuals. Okay. All right. Uh, okay. So this is the virtual box, and where do I even start from now? How do I know? Okay, let me start from what to download for Kali. I think now my screen is visible. So let me start from your best option for Kali. I'll be very fast this time and go back and you know. So installer image is when you want to install it on your major system as the base operating system. And virtual machines is when you want to install it on any of these virtual environments that we can see over here. Any of these virtual environments that we can see, VMware, VirtualBox, Hyper-V, QEMU. So any of them. So depending on the one you are using, depending on the virtual environment you are using, determine which of these boxes to choose from. To tell you, I'm so sorry about that. I'm back again. So just pick any of these depending on your choice of, depending on whichever virtual environment you choose as your preference. If you choose VMware, go with the VMware download. If you choose VirtualBox, if it's on the if it's on the server, go with Hyper-V. On the server, Hyper-V, most times hypervisor is usually installed on the server. So let's go ahead. So you click this, you download, and you see the download somewhere in the folder. Just as it is there, to start downloading, and then you now go to the folder. When you're done downloading it, you go into the folder where it has been downloaded, just like this. You can see it comes like this, like a zip file. Comes downloaded like this, like a zip file. And then all you need to do is there are two ways. You can do extract here, or you can also open with the whichever with your default zip zip software. It could be 7-zip, it could be WinRAR. So you just open it, you can do a drag and drop, like I said, just drag it and drop it.
it will work. Or you can choose to say extract to select the folder you want it to extract to, and that's something of that nature. So this is the folder we have extracted. So what I did in my own case was I have 7-zip installed. Let me show you what 7-zip is. It's also a very good tool for, so also have 7-zip installed. Yeah, I have 7-zip installed. So you can just do 7-zip, download 7, you can just go online. It's also a free tool. So download. I always have it on all my systems because it's a very, very robust zip tool. So just go to 7zip.org, click on it. Yep, you download. Maybe there's one. Just download the most stable, very light. So you see it's done, then you install, and then you'll have this kind of my own kind of extraction, zip extractor. So what I did was I just came here to the zip file and I did more options. Then I went to 7-zip, then I say extract here. So which means in this folder you get, so it extracted it and then brought out this for me. So let's go back to our virtual machine. I'm trying to be very fast because of the time we lost. So back to our virtual machine. Normally when you open your virtual machine, you find this kind of buttons. If it's newly installed, it will look like this on the top. So if you had gone with the installer image, you go with this, choose this as the ISO image and all that, but that's not what we're doing today. Today we're using the pre-installed. Today we're using the pre-installed. We're using the pre-compiled operating system, which is for VirtualBox. And